That's all we have. Let's call our meeting to order and start with our pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Afternoon. Hey, welcome to all. It's a good day to be in air conditioning. Absolutely. Hey, today. Thank you very much. Start off with item 1, approval of the meeting minutes, the regular minutes from June 21st, 2016. Here in your notes. Abstain.
I will. Oh, I was just going to note that I will abstain.
That's safe here, I'll abstain also.
Okay, 2 abstaining.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Yeah. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 2 is confirmation and approval of claims. We actually have 2 sets of claims based on last month. We didn't have a quorum, so we're going to approve the claims for dated 6/21/16 and also 7/19/2016.
Let me do a real quick review of what we're looking at. We held over the June 17th claims, as Mr. Stone mentioned, so I'll review those with you very quickly. Our June claims up, well, let's say it this way, the June 17th claim, $382,581 was the total amount. Out of that, our Fund 1 was $193,443.27. When we did a comparison, as we always do, to the previous year, we were $184,640.14. So the difference was $8,803.13 more this particular year. And primarily, there was a $12,500 lighting update that you were aware of, lighting and audio in the auditorium at the high school. Makes up more than that difference over last year. So that's primarily your difference there. So I don't know if it's the board pleasure to approve these separately. Is that what you would
I'd like to approve them separately.
So I'll stop there on the June and allow you to conduct your business there, and then I'll move forward with the year end.
There's a motion for approval of confirmation of claims for 6/21/16.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second. Excuse me. Wait a
All those in
minute.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries, and the confirmation approval of claims June 21st, 2016.
Again, just to be very clear about this, it'd be June the 18th through June the 30th plus July is what we're looking at on this claims report, on this warrant report.
Plus, also interject that I'm abstaining from both due to a personal conflict from the first one and the second set of claims.
Okay. Just a minute to show that. Our total claims was $710,973.51. That's a large number, but that's not unusual for a year end, just to remind you of that. Our total in our Fund 1 was $271,577.94. When we compared that to last year, last year's Fund 1 end of year in July came to $302,521.25. So we paid $30,943.31 less this year than we did last year. And there were a few expenses that we had this time last year that we didn't have this year. The main one is the Sherman Carter Barnhart. On the district facility plan, there was a charge for $13,518 last year that we didn't have this year. And that's the primary difference between. We also had some work on our sports fields last year that we did not have this year, $8,350. So that pretty much makes up that difference. We did have our debt service, Fund 400, was a total of $347,804.18 for this period as well.
I did note there was quite a few computers bought. Is that normally the time of year that we buy? A ton of them. So is that when we swap them out? Are they refurbs or are they?
No, new for older models. And then we use older models, a lot of times we'll take them and put them in the labs.
Okay. It was a lot of them. So.
We're doing a lot of teacher stations this summer.
Sounds good. Any questions or comments on the second confirmation approval of claims? If not, then look for a motion to approve?
Make motion approved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, financial reports.
Just got a few things to share with you this month. This is kind of a slow month here. Great news, though. We did receive a check from the KSBA unemployment contributions. That number has increased year to year. But due to a lack of claims that we've had with unemployment and some other things, we received a check of $27,401.79. That's money we paid to them, but they did rebate that to us, or let's say reimburse us that amount because it was unused. So that's pretty good news. That's almost a beginning teacher salary there that we get to put back into the general fund. We also had a increase on our tax collection. This particular year, we have a balance of $155,224 uncollected. Typically, that number runs about $173,152. So we're about $73,000 ahead of our tax collection. Now, some of that we give our department a lot of credit in their determination to stay after those. But then also with interest rates being low, people refinance their property. And when you refinance, of course, you have to pay up your taxes before you can complete the refi. So that too has played in our favor and helped us quite a bit in our collection on that. But every year we do an excellent job of that. We have, we're probably somewhere in the 99% range, I would say, this year, and we average in the 98.5 to 99% every year, which I think is outstanding for school districts. We also wanted to report to you that we had a few audit findings in our food service, minor things that one had to do with the balance, the amount that we have in our contingency. We need to spend some of that money. We have done that. It's really a good problem to have when the audit finds you to have a higher contingency than you should. Not many food services across the state operate in the black. A lot of times school districts have to bail those out. We're very proud of our food service. They do excellent work. The main reason that we have such great participation is that we have great food. And with all the restrictions of nutrition and nourishment, we're really proud of the work that cafeteria staff has done to make the food desirable and increase our participation rate. So we share that with you. All things are in good order in the financial area. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Any comments or questions? All right. Excellent. Thank you. And moving on to item 4, the superintendent's report.
I have 3 really exciting items to share with you today. First of all, I'm very pleased to have with us our new curriculum instruction and assessment director, Mr. Tim Beck, who's going to be replacing Ms. Kara Blackman in December of this year. Mr. Beck will be joining our team this next week. He is finishing up some work in his current school district. He'll be working side by side with Ms. Blackman for the next 6 months. We're very pleased with Mr. Beck's extensive knowledge of both curriculum and instruction. He was chosen from a very strong pool of candidates. He comes to us today from the Nelson County school system. He's also worked in the Nashville Metro schools, also the Jefferson County Public Schools. He has experience in the classroom as a teacher, as a principal, as a director of student services, and also a supervisor of instruction. So he comes to us already prepared for this position. He is originally from Louisville. Mr. Beck did his undergraduate work at Murray State University, did a master's degree at the Middle Tennessee University, and then completed his rank 1 at Cumberland's University, or University of Cumberland, excuse me. Very excited about his enthusiasm and motivation for this position, the instructional leadership of our district. He shared with me that the first thing that his first item of business is to get out into the schools, get out to know people, and get out and build those relationships with the folks in our district. Mrs. Blackman has done a wonderful job. Her day will come. Today is not her day. But she has done a wonderful job of building a foundation. We're going to talk more about this later in items 10, I think. She has laid a foundation for us to move forward. Mr. Beck is going to be the perfect person to come in and build upon that foundation that she has laid and continue to help our students reach high levels of success. So board members, if you will, help me welcome Mr. Tim Beck, our new CIA director. Mr. Beck, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you have a few words you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear them.
Well, I would love to say it's a dream come true, but I didn't even dream that I'd be working in Bardstown. I'm so excited the tradition and excellence that this system has to offer. I would jump at the opportunity to work with the school system, and when offered the job, it has absolutely made my career. And this is where I plan to end my career someday too. So thank you for the opportunity you've given me and my family.
Welcome aboard. Our next item on the superintendent's report is, as I said, a very exciting presentation. Once again, we are working to enhance our school-to-home communication and doing our best to keep up with the ever-changing technology that's going on in our world. As you well know, we've been talking to you about, maybe back in January, about a new app that our district was going to launch. Well, there's a lot of work that goes into that, and I want to say publicly, I want to say thank you to Ms. Lacey for her work, all that she has done to just simply get this app created and get this thing online. Now, sometimes you'll have an app that's called an app, but it's not very mobile. It just gives you what you might see in a limited form, what you might see on your web page. This is a fully functioning app like any other app that you get from the App Store is where you would need to get it. It is free, even though you have to go to the store to get it. Kim has worked very hard to put this thing together. She's going to be sharing some information with us today about the app and also about how you could load that app on your phone, although we won't go through that process with you today. But we want you to know, if you want to remain here after the meeting today, we will help you load that app on. And if today's not convenient for you, if you'll just let us know when you can come back by, we'll be more than happy to help you get this app on your phone. It is, when you look at school-to-home communication, it's a process that is evolving and ever-changing. And we can never sit still. And when we think we have reached a level, there is something new that comes around. And we all know that the vast majority of people in our community, in our society, in our world are communicating with what? A handheld device, typically a smartphone. So we have made that adjustment. We are going towards those people with this app. And so at this time, I'll turn this over to Ms. Kim Lacey, our Public Relations Director.
Thank you. We have so many pieces of technology going here today. I hope all of this goes smoothly. Lance is willing to help me out so we can move through this as quickly as possible. I am happy today to tell you about two new methods of communication that we are very excited about. Well, we think will help our parents and our students stay connected with what's going on at school. It'll be helpful if we walk through these two systems because they are quite different, but they do complement each other. As you know, we've had a system called One Call for a number of years. Many of you may still receive One Calls. That was a system for calling parents with reminders about school activities. It's used by our office, for instance, if we're closed for snow, but it's also used by the school offices for any number of announcements. It's also used by individual teachers. If parents have students in numerous schools, more than likely they're getting more phone calls than they care to receive. So hopefully this is going to alleviate, these two systems will help alleviate some of that. As students and parents have become more reliant on their mobile devices, as Mr. Holzclaw said, some teachers and coaches moved away from One Call to begin using a free texting service. It's become very evident that people prefer to receive their communication, most of them through text rather than phone calls. As of June 1, we switched to a system for emergency notifications called Instant Connect, which is through our website provider, eSchoolView. The advantage to this system is that people can choose how they wish to receive emergency alert messages, such as school closings due to weather or any type of emergency event that might impact the district or an individual school. They can choose to receive information through text, email, or phone call, or any combination of the three. This way, we are reaching parents in the manner we know they want to be contacted. They do have to register online for this. We sent out instructions at the end of last school year, and it's also on our website, kind of a step-by-step how to registering for Instant Connect, but we will be making a really big push at our open houses this year and at the beginning of the school year to get people to register for Instant Connect. These posters will be in each of the schools at the open houses. The principals will have a staff person available along with a couple of Chromebooks to help people register who might not have had an opportunity to yet. So that's basically the first piece. The second that I would like to move on to now is the mobile app. Sometimes our technology has a mind of its own, turns itself on and off. Since we have had our website, we have had a mobile site, but it really was not as responsive or easy to use as we would have liked. As Mr. Holtzclaw said, it really didn't operate like an app, and that's really what we've been after. So this last year, eSchoolView, again, that's the company that hosts our website, partnered with School Info app to provide a free downloadable app that provides up-to-date information right to your smartphone. School Info app has been named one of the top 100 products by District Administration Magazine for the past 3 years. So they have really been a pioneer in this area. So we feel like we have a good partner for this. I think the best way to show this to you is to kind of go through some of the major features. If you do want to download the app, and we certainly encourage you to do that, you simply go to your app store and do a search for Bardstown City Schools. Should be fairly quick to download. The first thing that it's going to ask when someone downloads the app is if they wish to receive push notifications. This is a very, very important aspect of the app, and we are certainly going to encourage our parents to accept those notifications, and I'll show you a little more about that. Once you've selected that, you can choose which school you would like to receive communication from. It's set up similar to the website in terms of the categories. There's city schools, and then there's one for each school. Today we're going to go to the elementary school just as an example. So it gives you a little instruction about how to use the app. Okay, so now that we've selected the elementary school, the first thing that shows up is one of their calendar items, basically talking about their open house that's coming up next week. If you click on that, there is a link here that you can click. It goes directly to our website, and that's where you will find more information that the elementary school is providing about their open house. We won't do that for the sake of time, but I can tell you that it is so easy and quick to go back and forth between. So some of these things actually connect into the website. It'll take you to the website, one click, and you're back at the app. If you go to menu, please, and we are going, you can see all the resources that are available. We're going to go to contacts. When you do that, you will see all the categories that are set up for the elementary school. Today, we're going to go to the 3rd grade. When you do that, all the teachers come up. We're going to go to Michelle Puckett, for instance. This is Miss Puckett's contact page. From here on your phone, you can click here or here. Your phone will automatically call the elementary school office. You can click here or here. It will address an email to her, so you have quick email access. Here and here is her web page within the elementary school website. So very, very easy, quick and easy to use. Then if you click this icon at the bottom, the alert icon, that shows you the categories that Mrs. Puckett has set up to inform parents about information in her classes. For instance, my child is in Miss Puckett's homeroom, so I would select that. And also in her 4th period reading class. So anytime Mrs. Puckett does a message, a text message, push notification to those groups, I will receive that on my phone. So you just basically go through and select, and that's one of the things that the teachers will talk to them about at open house. You know, these are the categories I have. Your child is in this, this, and this with me, so please choose those to follow me. So we need to go back now to menu. And you will see there's a whole lot of information at their fingertips, a lot of quick links, documents. There's a link to Infinite Campus, the parent portal, menus. They can, first thing in the morning, do I need to pack a lunch? Click on the menus, the breakfast and lunch menus for the month show up. Very quick and easy. Let's go down to...
Kim, my assignments, is that the assignments for a week or for that day?
Well, that's something that the students can use. I wasn't really going to get into that today, but that is a feature that they can use to keep track of their assignments. So, all right, so we want to...
So in the event of a snow day, they can go on and find out what teachers intended for them to do that particular day, if you wanted to?
Well, I'm sorry, actually that would come through the notification possibly. The My Assignments is something that the student is actually responsible for. All right,
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Let's go down to settings and click on My Alerts. This basically shows you that I have selected to receive push notifications. I will receive event alerts daily from the elementary school. Remember, we chose the elementary school. Or weekly. I have chosen both of those. They can choose that and change it. The parents can anytime they would like. The daily event alerts come out early in the morning. The weekly event alerts come out on Sunday afternoon, just giving them a picture of what's going on in the elementary school during the next week. At the bottom of the screen, is another little icon, and if we push on that, again, we're in the elementary school. So this is all the teachers in the elementary school and the categories that they have set up for communication. For instance, if my child is in Ms. Puckett's classroom, and we've already made those selections, but my child is also a member of the Lego Club that Andrea Greer sponsors, you can select that, and Andrea Greer can send out push notifications. For instance, if the club for some reason is canceled for that day or something like that, she can send a notification to the parents letting them know that. The last feature that I want to share with you, and there's so much more we could do, but it would take a lot of time, is the language translation. There are 32 languages that this will translate into, and we have it set up also in Spanish. For instance, if you choose Spanish, then it's going to change the menu into that language. Again, there are 32 languages, and we feel like this is going to be very, very helpful with our diverse population, because we do have so many students whose primary language is not English, and oftentimes their parents might choose their communication this way. So I know that that's been kind of a quick, rushed run through, but those are some of the major features that are offered. And again, we're going to be emphasizing this next week with our parents and students at the open house with both Instant Connect and the app. So, just wanted to bring you up to date on how we're constantly trying to enhance our communication, our school-to-home communication. So I will be here after the board meeting if you would like to work through that process of downloading the app, or have some additional questions, or you can come by my office anytime, and I'll be glad to go through it with you.
In Instant Connect, you signed up through the
The
portal?
website.
There's a portal on here that goes through that you connect and put your information in?
Not in there, I'm not sure.
Not in the
what it
app,
is
but
you're
on the
looking at.
website.
Yeah, on the website, there is, actually, we can accommodate that.
Do the app?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
manually, we can accommodate that.
Great.
All right.
Thanks
So much for all your work.
You're welcome.
There's a tremendous amount of background work in this. Ms.
Oh, I
Lacy
can
is,
imagine.
she is a trooper, so we appreciate all she's done.
I'm glad to see it coming to fruition, finally get it out there for folks to see and use.
Thank you again. Moving on to our next item in our superintendent's report, we have a little building project going on. Mr. Hood's going to come forth and give us a brief update on where we are, just to keep you in the loop about our project out at the Templin property, and also he's going to tell you about a few alternates, I think.
Right. Yes, out at Templin, of course, our main project that's going on out there is going to be the moving of the bus garage, which you're very aware of. We've been in contact with Sherman Carter. Eric Loy's kind of taken over that part of for them on this particular project, and then they brought in CMTA, which are the guys who are the engineers for lighting and anything to do with HVAC, all of those things. And we pretty much just opened the door and gave them free reins last Monday, I think. I met with them for just a brief period, and they just wanted to look over everything. So what they've done well, they asked a lot of questions. I tried to give them the best answers that we had at this particular time. But what we've asked them to do is to now go back and start putting the numbers together, because that's what we're really interested in, are the numbers. And so the bus garage being the main thing, as we have discussed out there, We are going to break it down from that into three alternates for them to also be taking a look at for us. And these are in no particular order or anything like that. These are just some things we're looking at. LED lighting would cover the whole building. A new LED upgrade of lighting throughout the building. Possibly moving our paper storage that we currently have at the middle school, which would free up some space over there that we use for that. They're going to look at putting a drop ceiling in one of our bay areas, and a sealed door to where we could condition that for paper. So that's the second one. And then also to either one of, it's kind of interesting whether, you know the building's fairly large. I mean, we're talking about a 25,000 square foot building, but it has an elevated floor right in the middle. So we're taking a look at whether or not we want to raise the floor to meet this one, or do we want to take this one out to meet that one, to give us, whatever that does, to give us the flexibility to use that whole building, because it's more of a, it hurts us now the way it is because we don't have that full section of space. So the bus garage being the main goal that we would be bringing to you in a BG1 in the very near future. And then if all of the alternates came in and we looked at the money and thought that would work, you could choose one of the alternates, two of the alternates, all three of the alternates. That would be your choice. And of course, we would want to keep in mind our projects down the road that we want to do, so we don't want to put everything into this and not have enough money left over to fulfill our needs for our district, for growth of our schools. So it's moving. I wish I could give you a better timeline, but we're still putting some numbers together. I was contacted yesterday by someone who would be interested in the construction part of that. So I know these guys are contacting people because they're starting to call me. So I know that's ongoing. So real excited about that opportunity and just the use of that building that we can get that we're there. So
what we'll do in the coming months is the information becomes available, we'll be sure and bring that before you. We're excited about getting a footprint of sorts so we can show you some sort of blueprint on what the garage itself will look like. And then when those alternates do become available, we'll be sure and get those in front of you with some background information to make sure you can make an informed decision on that. So, Mr. Hood, we'll be coming back before, perhaps monthly, if there's information to share with you until we get the project underway. One thing we did talk about is that we were hoping that would be probably an opportunity to move into that new bus garage by January of 2017. To be realistic, as things are unfolding, it's beginning to look like probably it's going to be later in the spring. We may actually make that move next summer, perhaps. We'll just see how it goes, but get that information out to you as well. So, Mr. Hood, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions?
What's going on back here behind the band room?
Well, we've eliminated a trailer that was there for a long time, probably early 80s, we think. And we're moving the kids that were there. We've moved them to a different location, and that trailer is kind of old. We did a great job of upkeeping it, but it's served its purpose. So we have gotten it. It's gone. I mean, it's ready for grass. Grass seed's there, straw's down. It's been watered. So just getting a.
Do we have any preliminary thoughts on what we're going to use the existing bus garage for once it's vacated?
We really haven't discussed that at all.
How many square foot is that?
8,000. I can find out. I don't know exactly on that, but we just amongst ourselves just talked about some things, but there's nothing formal or anything like that.
It's got a lift in it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Is that going to be, leave that there and use the lift there, or we're going to build one out the Salt River?
Our plans are at Salt River is to purchase a portable, a movable lift, because bus garages now, they don't really put those in as much because it limits the work you can do. For instance, that lift, we can get the bus in the air. He realizes he has to have parts. We've got a bus in the air. He has to go off, buy all the parts, come back, and it's taking up space. In this particular new model, what our hope would be, we get it in the air, we see we got to have parts, we use floor jacks, we leave it there, we move this out and go to the next bus. So we're very more productive in what we can do. So, and it's cheaper than putting a new system in the floor.
I just had a question. How big is this elevated floor out of the use?
Yeah, I would say 4 feet probably, would you?
Oh, you talking about
4 to 5.
square footage or just the
Yeah,
height?
the square.
Oh, the square footage of the
Yeah.
building, of the whole building?
Yeah.
No, just
No,
the raised
elevated floor.
Oh,
elevator.
oh gosh, yeah, I'd have to put some,
Might be half. It's a
Half
lot.
the building.
yeah, the elevated parts, it probably is half. It probably is
Not including the
half.
office area, just.
Right,
Just the.
right.
Okay.
So that's, we'd always thought about just raising the floor, but, we'll talk a little bit, that it might be just as easy to lower the part that's up. We just have to look at some things to see which is gonna work best for us. But regardless, we want that to be one big, either down or up, 25,000 square feet.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Okay.
And that completes our superintendent's report today.
Thank you. Item 5 is recognition of visitors. Do we have any visitors that would like to speak today? If you, sir, would stand and identify yourself and state your address, and our school board criteria is 5 minutes for your discussion.
All right, my name is Joseph Petty. I live at 106 Curry Court in Bardstown, Kentucky. I am a former karate student at the Yosekan Karate School in Covington, Kentucky. I am a 5th degree black belt, which is, I have a title called Shihan. I'm trying to get start a karate program in one of the elementary schools here in Bardstown. I've been trying for quite a while now, and I never get a positive or a negative answer. No one ever calls me back. Karate classes are free. I charge them for karate classes.
We'll try to address that, I guess.
Yes, I can tell you, if you, Paul Bowling, if you, is a name. In fact, when we finish here, one of those gentlemen back there will give you direct contact information and cell number.
Mhm.
I think he'll be excited to hear from you.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming in. There's a lot of positive things that come, a lot of self-discipline that comes with your sport.
Yes.
I cannot imagine us not being excited about this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Wonder who he's been talking to.
Is there anyone else that
Okay, great, we'll figure it out.
That concludes item 5. Let's move on to item 6, the approval of fiscal year 2017 district funding assurances.
All right, if you look at your place there, you have a paper document beside your agenda, perhaps. At the top of it says Bardstown Independent 017 Public District, Consolidated District Planning. These are the general headings of all of our federal and state programs that used to be wrapped up in what was called the CDIP, or the Consolidated District Improvement Plan. As you know, we seldom stay very long. I'll say this as positive as I can with one program. We are now moved over to the GMAP, which I know you love that acronym. It is the Grant Management and Application Planning System now that the Kentucky Department of Education uses instead of the CDIP. All right, so essentially what we're saying for each of these areas, and you have 31 pages in your electronic document there of assurances. And essentially, if you look at those, you'll see positive responses to every one of those. So these areas that you see on this paper in front of you, we're telling you as a board, yes, we are in compliance. Yes, we have agreed. We have checked yes in each of those boxes on the following 31 pages. We have provided the assurances that we will do what the state and federal government is asking us to do. We do this every year in July. As again, we do it as a CDIP. This year we're doing it as GMAP, and we'll be doing it from now on as GMAP. So It has a little different format, but pretty much the same idea. So we're providing assurances that we will use the state and federal programs funding as they were designed for. That's what you're approving today. And as superintendent, I give you that assurance that these things are in order and in line.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 6 carries. Approval. Item 7 is the approval of the 2016-2017 extra service schedule.
These are areas 7 and 8 are areas that we always do in July. Mr. Downs has come today, and I've asked him to provide us with an update. Most of these remain the same. Every now and then there's a small change, but he'll share those with you at this time.
All right, and this year, we only had 3 changes. Everything else on it is exactly the same. The positions and the money are exactly the same. 3 things I want to call to your attention. One is 6th grade cheerleading sponsor. We're asking you to approve a $500 stipend for that. And what we've done there is there's a 7th and 8th grade cheerleading team now, and they had tryouts at the end of school, and we had a really big number of 5th graders going into 6th that tried out for the team. Also, a lot of those didn't make the team, of course, because you had all your 7th and 8th grade, but we had such an overwhelming number of young ladies wanting to cheer that we thought that we would create this position for them. They can cheer for the middle school 6th grade girls basketball team, the boys basketball team, some football positions there. And what we've kind of done in the past, you'll see there's like a $500 position for 6th grade boys and girls basketball. And when we have enough interest in those, that's when we put that in. So that's the first one. The last 2 are under the board office, 2 positions. One, a $2,000 stipend for an assistive technology director. And in the past, we had one of our contract employees that we no longer had was doing that with extra days, is how we paid for that. And what I'm talking about there is we have a lot of assistive technology for our special needs kids. iPads, Lance, we probably have how many, 80?
About 150.
150, excuse me. Right, and they all have to be managed every year. Got to put programs on, take programs off, they have to be collected at the end of the year. It's a pretty big job, and so we would like to add that position as, instead of extended days, just a flat stipend to take care of that for the year.
We're not creating a new position, you're just moving that to what used to be
Right.
a contracted person to...
Yes, and actually the $2,000 is less than what we were paying the contract person to take care of it. So we feel good about that. And the very last thing is a FRAM coordinator. And what that is, it's free and reduced application manager is what that is. And let me tell you why that came about. We went to the community eligibility program provision for having our primary, elementary, and middle school having free lunch. Well, we still need free and reduced lunch applications for our school. We don't need them for the lunch program anymore.
Federal programs.
The federal lunch program, we don't need those free and reduced because they're all free. So we don't need those forms. But we still need to collect all those forms because we need it for Title I, we need it for testing, a variety of other reasons. We have to track those students. So somebody, and it can't be the food service, has to manage getting all those forms in, collecting them, putting them into Infinite Campus. It's going to be a pretty big job. And we've never done it before, but we think we're going to have a pretty good handle on it. But that's why we're asking for a little extra stipend to take care of that, because it's going to be a big job.
These type of positions, the FRAM coordinator and the tech guy you talked about before, there are already people that
We have people in mind that we think can do those jobs. Of course, we want to get them approved before we pursue those. But we have people on staff that we think can do the job.
And the cheerleader thing, for example, that will require additional uniforms and things like that for those, or where does that money come from?
Possibly, but the middle school would take care of that.
I'm curious.
That's typically what they do, and sometimes with cheerleading, I know that the athletic department puts in a little bit for like tumbling classes and those kind of things, but they're all taken care of. But those are only 3 positions that are different.
This assistant technology coordinator, will that be in addition to Steve and Hart?
Yeah, because it's all special needs, and they don't manage all of that. They help order and get those kind of things, but it's a pretty big job to put programs on and off, and with the amount of computers and things that we have in this district, it's just out of their realm.
This is just going to be for lights?
It's pretty much for the assistive technology for kids with special needs.
Okay.
I'll
Yes,
give
sir.
you an example, if that's okay. Like, we have several students that use iPads for their communication devices. Well, they're constantly moving between programs depending on what best fits their needs. So this person, from a district standpoint, has one computer where they can send apps out to all different iPads, or go get that iPad and put that app on there, kind of tailor-make it to the kid. So it's separate from what Steve and Roman do with our kind of computers, and this individual is a special education staff member, so they know a little bit about the needs of those type of kiddos and the type of programs they're going to be using. They have much more broader knowledge on it than what somebody else might.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what we're asking to approve the extra service schedule.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were saying that you need to keep a record of those who would have been on free or reduced lunches.
Exactly.
So what is the incentive for them to fill out those forms?
Well, that's what we're going to have to go get them.
Okay.
That's what part of the big job's going to be, because they don't have a lot of incentive to do it. But we're going to have to reach out and make that effort and communicate why we need those forms.
Yeah, because it's, really important.
It's very important for the
Title I
That's a good
funding
point.
is.
Yes, yeah, very, very important to the others, not the food service, but to
Yes.
the district, yes. So that's why it's a pretty big job, and that person is going to be very important.
Who came up with all this additional paperwork? It's
No child left behind.
Well, well, no child left behind, that's another story. But
Yeah.
it's just part of the federal government. Anytime you deal with
Yeah.
federal funds, and you just,
It's the only way they do it.
yeah.
And of course, they're helping out financially.
Oh, that'd be nothing. But we get federal money, but, yeah. Okay?
Any other questions or considerations, concerns? Seeking approval for the 2016-17 extra service schedule.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Item carries. Let's moving to item 8, which is the approval of 2016-2017 extended time schedule.
And this will be pretty easy because there's no changes. Exactly the way it was last year.
Any questions regarding this item? Seeking approval of the 2016-2017 extended time schedule.
Make a motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I say aye as well. Item 9, I guess.
This will be easy
You
too.
get that one too? Okay.
Yes.
Item 9 is the approval of 2016-2017 substitute teaching salary schedule.
And just a note on that, as you will recall, last year, we raised that a little bit because we wanted to make sure that we were in line with the surrounding counties, because we have subs that move between them, and we didn't want to be at a competitive disadvantage, but we're in line now, and that's why we don't need to change it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how you get, I guess if you broke all these ranks down 1 through 5 here, what percentage would you say would be in rank 4 of your total? What's the biggest percentage of the group that you
Well,
have? What are they?
3 and above, very, very, very few rank 4s.
I guess my point is, I don't know why anybody would do it for that kind of money. It's just, there's not
Well,
enough.
sometimes if they're going to college, go ahead.
Well, a rank 4 often is somebody that's in a transition to having a rank 3, a degree. They have enough to teach, but they haven't completed the degree. Now, that's changed in...
64 hours is what they have to have at least in order to be a substitute.
Well, yeah, a full-time substitute, but the lead report has changed that. But years ago, rank 4, for example, you didn't pass your teacher certification test, but you had all the degree, you could go ahead and work for the rank 4 pay. Then you would go ahead and take that test. Maybe at mid-year you would pass it, then you would be increased to rank 3. That's kind of why it's on the scale.
But do you have individuals that are like, they have their college degrees, maybe they're retired, but they would still fall in that category because they're not a certified teacher, so,
Yeah, we do have some not very many.
I see.
Not very
Okay.
many. And a lot of times, that some of those are just looking for something to do.
Right.
What would 154 hours get you?
Well, it would put you up there pretty good.
But if you're not a certified teacher, it would.
No, we wouldn't put you in certified teacher. But another thing we do too, is to try to attract the best retired teachers, we pay more.
Right.
To try to get them back in the classroom as much as possible, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that really helps. So we added that in there last year too, up that, so.
Any other questions or concerns?
Do we still teach psychology? As a class?
We do.
Psychology?
We do.
I have a minor in that. Looking good.
You're a board member, sir.
Looking good.
Carry on.
Seeking approval of item 9, 2016-2017 substitute teaching salary schedule.
So moved.
So moved. And a second?
And I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 9 carries. And item 10 is the approval of the amended 2016-2017 salary schedule.
We approved the salary schedule last month, and I told you at that time that we had one item still in the hopper, the public relations director position, that I did want a little bit of time to look at that and complete some research on that. And what we mean by that is that we looked at surrounding school districts that are close to the Nelson County area, and we did a comparison to what we were paying compared to what they're paying, and we found that we were coming in quite a bit lower on that position. We also realized that due to perhaps as long ago as 20 years ago, this position was created in our district as a part-time position. Now, there has been some increases along the way where there's no longer obviously a part-time position, but it was never placed on the salary schedule. So it's the only, to my knowledge, it is the only position that we have that was not on a pay scale. And when you look at other employees in the district and also other school districts with their public relations director, that person would be on a scale that would have a step increase every year just based on the number of years, not necessarily the raise, but they would get the raise on the scale. They have been getting a raise, but they don't get the step increase. So looking at, and I put some information in your electronic device there about some different school districts and what they're paying. Hopefully you had a chance to look at that. For sake of time, I won't go over those at this point. But looking at other school districts, the public relations responsibility that director has varies. The majority of those are media-type public relation responsibilities. In our situation, we have the media public relation, we have the school-to-home communication that you've seen some of that today, the website, Instant Connect, district photographer, Facebook coordinator, our new phone system with the Instant Connect, both the phone and the texting, and then of course our new app that we talked about today. And then on top of that, we also do the Bardstown Foundation for Excellence as a director. One of these school districts that are very close by, they have both a foundation director and they have a public relations person, and together they pay about $119,000. And you can see from the attached scale here that we're asking for a whole lot less than that, perhaps about half of that. Our person would be doing both of those jobs for about half the money that they're paying.
This is Anfield or Unfilled? This looks like a job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this position is already in place. We're just amending the current salary schedule, and you can see that attached there under Public Relations Director. So essentially what I'm asking you to do here is to consider moving this position up to where it makes sense with other school districts. And again, I provided you with those numbers at some varying sizes, some larger, some same, independents, county school systems, all that's included in there, and you can see that we are clearly in line. We're still lower than all of those as far as the scale goes. but I think it's much more in line. I feel like this would be a fair pay for the responsibilities that person has. What kind of questions would you have for me?
Any questions? Okay, seek approval for the amended 2016-2017 salary schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Move second.
Moved in second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 10 carries.
Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Number 11 item today is the approval of the additional supervisor of instruction position.
We have conducted interviews for our replacement, for our replacement in this area, curriculum instruction and assessment, we call it CIA. So that director, in that process, I have learned that we are the only school district in this 5th region area where we only have one CIA person. What I'm saying is, the vast majority of these have primary elementary CIA, then they have a middle high school CIA, and then they have instructional coaches within each building. I'm not asking you for the instructional coaches. That's something we can discuss a little bit later. But why am I asking you this? It's because I have realized that the work that we're doing with our staff, preparing them to teach our children, it's at a very high level. I can't tell you how pleased I am with the work that Kara Blackman has done in our school district. She has helped principals, she has helped teachers, and as a result, we're helping students. There's only one small problem that we have with the great work she's doing, is that we don't have enough of it. We need more of it. When you look at how close we've been, we are on the fringe of being a proficient district. You've seen it. It's been points, tenths of a point that we've missed. We feel very strongly that we're in a great position this time to make proficiency. We want to be proficient. We've worked very hard to do that. In order for us to be proficient and remain proficient, we need to consider doing what these other school districts that surround us that are proficient. The one common denominator is they have someone at the elementary level and the primary, and they have somebody at the middle and the high school level. Those are proficient districts. Now, if you know me at all, you know that I do not believe that by adding a position, we will automatically suddenly become proficient. What I am telling you is that we have plenty of work to do, and we need help doing that work. If this is something you would consider, what we would look at is we would look at posting that position. I can tell you that there are many wonderful candidates out there. We would post that position perhaps this fall. We would hire that position to take place on January the 1st of 2017, if this is something that you call fit for us to do. I've not asked you for things like this in the past. I am convinced, I feel strongly about if we're going to be proficient and remain proficient, we're going to have this extra help. So today you're only considering instructional coaches may come to you later in a different way with maybe some state and federal grants. We might be able to fund that later. Your question today might be, can we afford this extra position? My answer to you is that we had 4 positions that retired at the top of the scale recently. We tightened our belts, we cut back, we hired only 2 replacements for those 4 people. So we're used to paying those salaries. I can tell you that there will be money left over still from the savings that we received from those 4 retirees at the top of the scale. So, in short, in summary, I'm asking you to approve a second CIA director for a school district that would focus primarily on the primary school and the elementary school. Any questions that you have?
Ms. Blackman, do you have any comment?
Absolutely. No, as I told, and I've known for a while that with the new Common Core standard of Kentucky academic standards, with new things to teach and to teach them in a different way, teachers, even seasoned, and actually the seasoned teachers are the ones that need more coaching and help where one person cannot truly do it in a K-12 setting. My expertise is secondary. I've had to do a learning curve on learning the K-5 pedagogy, the instructional practices of that age band. Having two people with these changes that have occurred in public education with standards and a different way of teaching, that's the most important thing with 21st century skills, requires more coaching and more getting shoulder to shoulder with teachers and principals to help them learn and then make sure that they're doing things in the right way. I know that I have not been able to do that to the degree I wanted to because of just being one person. I really believe that this will take our district to another level of excellence, even beyond what we are. And I can't say that enough.
Any comments from board members?
No, I'm all for showing up for teachers because they're the ones that are on the firing line. They're the ones that's got to get the job done. And I'm for them getting all the help they can get in this constantly changing environment in education when it comes to standards and all those things.
I can't keep up with the acronyms, much less
Yeah, what
the
has to
actual.
be done.
Any other comments or questions?
With what you've done, one person, you've been able to have a continuum from early childhood all the way through 12th grade. And is that, with splitting that up, is that going to present a problem?
No, because those people would be working side by side. The other person would be working, they would be like a team of working side by side. If anything, it would improve, absolutely improve that continuum.
Because you've done a great job of doing what you've done.
Thank you. But it needs more. Truly.
All right. For no further comments or questions, I'd like to seek approval of item 11, the additional supervisor of instruction position.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Item carries.
I think you need to change the title from CIA to something else.
I like that. I was going to say.
Item 12 today is the approval of the declaration of property surplus.
As Mr. Downs, you might recall last month I did share with you that we now, that with the relocation of A School, we do have some possible surplus property, and I gave you a document from Kentucky Department of Education. We've tried to break that down for you, and I've asked Mr. Downs to come and speak with you today. Originally, we thought we might have an idea of how we might dispose of the surplus property. A little more complicated than that, so he's going to walk us through the process today, and there's a couple things he's going to ask you to vote on here.
Well, with the purchase of the Salt River property on Templin, it has caused the Cox Creek building, which is aging and getting older, it has caused that to be surplus. And that really the definition of surplus property is that it's surplus to the needs for the educational program of the district. So if we determine that we do not need it for the educational program of the district, then we can, as a board, declare it surplus. And that is the first step in the process. The board must deem that it is actually surplus property. Once we do that, then we will send that to the to KDE, and then they will have to approve it being surplus property. And once we get that approval, then we can start into the different methods of disposing of the property. Now, one of the things that we have learned in this process, there's 3 different ways that you can dispose of the property, but you have to have an appraisal in order to do it. And so kind of what we're going to ask for you all to do today is to approve that the Cox Creek property is surplus and give us permission to start the appraisal process once we get permission from the State Department to proceed. That's what we're asking today. I'm going to give just a very brief description of what we have to do after that. Once we get approval, there's 3 ways that you can dispose of the property. One is you can have a public auction. All right, and in that public auction, you have to have, you would have to hire an auctioneer and get, of course, you have to get close to that appraisal, and we're in the process of trying to find out what exactly that is, the percentage to get to that. So that's one way. The second way is sealed bids, and you would advertise the property, you'd advertise for sealed bids, and you would have to put in there that you could reject any and all bids. That's the other piece of it. The third piece, or way we could do it, is that we could hire a realtor to list the property and set a minimum of what we would take for the property, and then proceed that way.
Appraisal though, right?
Got it?
All these are based on.
It'll all have to be based off that appraisal. And then once we sold it, then it's still not sold. You have to send a pre-sale agreement to KDE. They have to approve it, and then when they send it back, we can finalize the deal. And we were talking today, this probably, we've surplused a lot of things, but I don't know if we've ever surplus property, because we've lived on 43 acres for our whole lives. And I don't know that we ever had any property that we let go. But with, the vision of the board to have the Templin property, we're in good shape for years and years to come. And so we think we can let this go. So just to summarize, what we need to ask you all to do today is to declare this property surplus to the educational needs of the district, and then permission to move forward with the appraisal. Questions?
Comments?
Okay, thanks.
Approval of item 12, the declaration of property surplus. You have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
And motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 12 carries.
Hang on one second. Could you please do a motion to approve the appraisal?
Appraisal.
Okay, so there's a secondary motion of item 12 for approval of the appraisal of the Cox's Creek property. May I have a motion for that?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries as well.
Thank you.
Item 13 is approval for first reading of the board policy updates.
I'm going to give you the short version today because I know we're running a little on time. But just to remind you this, we have to have 2 readings of the board policy changes. And the ones, KSBA sends these to us every summer. They make the legal, and almost all these except for 2 are legal changes, and the other 2 are just recommendations that they want us to change. I'm just going to bring a couple of them to your attention, and then you can read through them, and if we have more questions the next meeting, we'll go over those before we approve them. And the paper that I gave you just as a ledger, if you see the first number in front of these policies, it tells you what chapter it comes out of. So for example, chapter 3 is all personnel. So any of these policies that have a 3 in front of it, it's personnel. The first one I wanted to talk to you today, just to bring you up to date on, is the first policy is 1.61. Has to do with requires the district to review data security and breach notification best practice guide and acknowledge that in a public meeting before August 31st every year. All right, now what does all that mean? Well, we have this document right here, which is best practices on your security for your technology and what are you supposed to do anytime there's a breach. And it gives you step-by-step instructions, what you have to do within 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, of how to inform the State Department of the breach, how to inform the people that information was breached. Now, so far, we've never had to do that. But what we want you to know is that we, as a tech department, review this every year, and we will assure you of that at the next board meeting. That's the first one that I wanted to call your attention to. One more that I'd like for you to look at is
It's a legal one, and it's 4.0. And what that is financial officer's qualifications. And it says that the qualifications now needed for an employee to serve as a district financial officer, this new policy reflects the new regulation. And the regs on that are pretty simple. You have to have a minimum of a bachelor's degree. You have to have 12 hours of accounting coursework, and you have to have 2 years of experience in that area. That's the minimum. Now, I'm going to brag on Miss Tracy just for a second because she goes way beyond that. She has her degree from the University of Louisville, 19 years of experience in this area. She's also has certification that she got from the Gatton program that was a 3-year program in finance that she completed and graduated from. So she's done very well there. You have to have 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years. She's well in the way of that. And when you first start, you have a provisional certificate from this new rule. So everybody's under provisional right now, and once you complete your 2 years, you'll have your regular certificate as a financial officer. So we are very, very blessed to have what we have here. Just wanted to call your attention that that's a new rule for the board policy. And one last one, very briefly, is one on, let's see, my last one is on the hotline for child abuse. Has to be, it is 9.227. It requires every school to prominently display the child abuse hotline in their offices. And, you know, our teachers are trained in detection, all that kind of thing, but that's just one that you have to prominently display, and we'll make sure that that gets in place too. But the rest of them are pretty common. Most time they're just changing language. When No Child Left Behind was reorganized this time, a lot of language got changed, and that reflects in a lot of these policies. Okay, so we just need this for our first reading. And we will visit these again in August.
Any questions or comments?
Who monitors the board policies?
What KSBA does for us, I'm the one that looks at them each year to try to see if we need to change anything within our own organization. But anytime a policy changes legal-wise, the Kentucky School Board Association lets us know. And then they write the new policy for us. And any that we ever need to change, we send it to them with the language we want in it. They check it for legal and then send it back to us, and then we run it through this process.
We used to get reams of paper had red in it. When they make a change, it was in red.
Well, is that way on your? Okay. I remember I messed that up a couple of years ago. I didn't want to ever do it again.
So, for example, I noticed that the bullying, hazing changed. Was that something that we pushed forward to them and they came back to us? And
No, everything in this round came from KSBA.
Okay.
Nothing. We didn't change anything that we needed to change this time. Because you remember a few years ago when we had the campus-free, smoke-free, we changed a lot of that language. We initiated that. But this time it's all from KSBA. Okay? Thank you all.
I'd like to seek approval for the first reading, item 13 of the board policy updates.
Make a motion to approve.
In a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 13 carries. We'll move on to item 14, personnel resignation and retirement.
Just make you aware of a few resignations we had there. There's 4 of those listed on our document there. You can see those names, that short list. Then we have one retirement. Ms. Kara Blackman has officially announced her retirement effective December the 31st. And we'll talk a little more about Ms. Blackman in a later meeting. So
We don't have to accept that retirement, do we?
well, we don't, but she's a hard sell. I tried to get her to say no, but then
She looks resolute back there.
yeah, she's pretty comfortable.
Yeah. All right. Any questions or comments on that? We'll move to item 15, which are your SBDM council minutes, the ones that were supplied to us. I think one of them was not in session per se, but those are in your packet if you have any questions on that. And if there aren't any, we'll seek a motion for adjournment, item 16.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. So we're gonna do Monday Night Fight